Alright, and let's talk us through your deployment.
Okay, so I have a squad of 3 Death Tread in reserve. I have 19 of Plaguechosen in the spawn behind this ruin, ready to project onto this flank. I have a Plaguechosen crawler and 5 Death Tread with the Fellblight spawn fully protecting them. In my backfield, I have another Plaguechosen crawler, another Contemptor just sitting out of line of sight, and 10 zombies ready to move up to get outside the sickness for me.
Yep.
And then as we swing around to the right hand side of my deployment zone, I've got my other 5 of Death Tread, 10 Plaguechosen in the spawn, just again for early threat projection. My load of virulence, my biology petrifier, my Tallyman, and my last Contemptor. Not a particularly complicated deployment, just trying to project down on 2 sides because there's no central objective to move on to.
Yeah. So I kind of heavily weighed this side because I can only contest one side. Effectively.
So we're going to just fight and see what
We're gonna fight it out and see. So quickly, Innes, where did these small ruins come
So
from?
the small ruins are from Wayland Jutani. They are the supplier for all the WC terrain. Really nice stuff. It's really easy to flat back. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah. So we got the big MBF buildings are from wargamestournaments.com. They are excellent. They are super cheap, super effective buildings, and they actually look quite decent, which is nice. And then we have a scattering of random Games Workshop terrain.
Yep. And then the objectives were from
Nori Custom Designs in Cooper in Fife, and then the mat is from GameMat.eu and it is double-sided.
Monday that will get ironed.
Is that what you do with the mats?
I think you can iron. Yeah, you just put a cloth on them and iron them, and then it should be alright.
Fair. Yeah. So we're going to do the first one roll of on camera because that's always super fun.
Oh no, that means I'm going to win. Yeah, I rolled into a ruin. So
I rolled a 5.
1. Cool.
1. So I have to go first, which is actually what you're wanting. You were saying.
I think so. Yeah.
You think so? All right.
I don't have to do much if I go first, do I? So.
Oh, one thing I should mention about my army is that all my bikes are +1 to hit because I took the +1 to hit, +1 leadership
They're
drug.
all +1 plus the skill.
Yeah. So that's super nice. So they're actually reliable shooting. Anyway, we will catch you at the end of movement phase and maybe a turn summary. I don't know how this will play
We'll see how
out.
much happens in turn 1 and come back at the end of it.
Often not much happens. So we'll catch you in a moment. Hello, welcome back everyone to the end of round 1 summary. We kind of just blasted through this because there wasn't much going on. So in my turn, I moved a sturdy block up with the Incubi Raider and 5 racks. There are also mandrakes holding these 2 objectives, just giving me a little bit of board control, but not too much. And also there were 3 bikes there, but we'll get that in a second. I also moved up, apologies for that, whiteboard fell on. I moved up a raider that was here to here, but as containing the Hemocytes and the Heamonculus. But as you can see, that raider died, and a bunch of the Hemocytes died because of a very, very, very sharp line of sight from that Volcon Contemptor down there.
Yep.
Also put 3 more bikes up there for the next wave, and I just kind of stayed here. I shuffled around the Trueborn Raider, so they could get some cheeky pot shots off at the Death Shard, but didn't do much.
Chris
I
also
did.
got his Retrieve Victorious data for this quarter here.
That was what the Mandrakes did in that turn, and I did also kill a spawn with the Heat Lance, doing 8 damage to it. So that was nice.
In my turn, I advanced up on both flanks, so I hit a 5-inch advance with Poxwalker to grab that objective, and the spawn grabbed this objective. I didn't hit the advance engine here. I think I needed a 5. I only hit a 4, so I didn't get to here, a 3 or 4. These guys have bumped up, they're protected. I have Miasma on the Death Shroud. Voltcon got an angle to this raider here, managed to put 25 damage on it, which is, average.
The poor Hemozites, it's a poor blue man group.
I've done my spread the 6 on this objective. I'm holding 3, which is more than Chris, because Chris is probably holding 2. So I got my Stranglehold, and I also got Grinding Down because I killed the raider and the Mandrakes, and Chris only killed my spawn.
Yes.
I got my maximum 9 points for this turn.
This is very Death Guard. You can only kill one thing and they got 2.
Chris is going to get a 5 for primary as well, which I've managed to hold him to. Probably going to get the same, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, I don't think I can take you off of.
You can have him pretty easily.
We'll see what the shooting phase
brings. The Plague Squad here killed a rack and 2 of the Reavers, and this guy by himself, the Lord of Virulence, killed the Mandrakes in the middle.
Yeah, 8 shots, 8 wounds, 8 failed saves.
Oh, I also passed both my 4-ups against Chris's 2 Dark Lance ones last turn, which was nice.
Yay, Dark Lances! Anyway, we will come back to you again. We'll see when it's important to come back to you. We don't want to waste your time on a 3-hour battle report.
I should probably do my mortal wounds on these Poxwalkers, so they are going to take 1 mortal wound, which they pass the field of pain against.
Cool. So we'll come back to you when it's important. Okay, everyone. So here we are at the end of turn 2 for the Dark Eldar.
Turn 2 shooting phase.
Turn to shooting phase, I should say. Thank you. My turn's not over yet because I'm going to make some charges and then we shall film to make it clear. So these bikes moved up here. There's a bit of Bobby mod going on, but that's fine.
Chris just postured to get a bunch of Dark Light shots. Death Shroud.
So I shot six Dark Lances and Heat Lances into you. You passed every single invulnerable save.
I failed one. I had to CP roll one of them.
Yes, and so the Death Shroud do still stand. And basically, what I'm doing now is trying to charge these Poxwalkers, stay out of 3 inches so the Death Shroud can't intervene.
Yep.
And then move block them with the racks or the bikes, however it is up.
The objective for free.
Yeah. So just making it a bit more challenging for Ennis, but he's in a pretty commanding
He's basically just trying to set it up so that next turn you get the Incubi and Drazzer that are in here can come in and deal with this with the Dark Cloud on top of that. So he's not too much worried about dealing damage to them this turn, but because I have Miasma and he's still on turn 2 for Power from Pain, he's going to be hitting on 3s, and it's just more variance than he wants to accept.
Yeah,
to do rerolls.
Incubi don't rely on rerolls, but when they're at -1, it does definitely hurt them.
Yeah, just losing 20% of your damage out for free for no real benefit doesn't really help.
Yeah, and then over this side, I have moved the one raider up here with the. I've kept the Succubus and the Witches inside there, and they shot their pistols and dart lance into the spawn that was on the edge of that objective there, so we can test it so it isn't getting a 15 primary.
So it's holding me back to a 5 unless these Poxwalkers go nuts.
Yeah, which they made it. They made it.
There's always the potential they go nuts, kill a bunch of stuff, get some models back, and then I get a walk again. It could happen. I don't think it's particularly likely.
No.
I've tried to make the charge for these Hemocytes a bit harder, so there's always the chance, right? You want to give yourself outs.
Yep, so we're going to stop filming and go into the charge phase and show you the end of turn before the Death Guard mince me.
Very good.
Okay everyone, welcome to the end of Drukhari turn 2. So I've charged and I killed the Poxwalkers with the racks and the bikes. I was hoping to just do it with the racks. So the bikes had a bit more freedom to do a proper move block, but unfortunately, I didn't quite get that, so we've got kind of a partial move block going on right now.
Yeah, Chris popped reroll hits and reroll wants to hit and reroll wounds on the racks. Killed 6 of the Poxwalkers, the bikes managed to just chip the last one. I spent a long time deliberating on whether I should interrupt and try and kill a rack to try and keep them alive. I decided it wasn't worth the 3 CP I would probably need to spend.
And I've just kept a bike on that objective, just for a bit more board control, because I might as well, isn't there?
To get my stranglehold points at least.
Yeah, but you were saying about just moving around the bikes and then charging them and...
Yeah, I'm probably just going to flame here and here with the Death Shroud and the Lord of Virulence and try and just deal with this that way. Lord of Virulence is probably actually going to go into the radar just to try and use his 2 damage when against vehicles.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. I've got a lot to do this turn. I've got Death Shroud in reserve as well.
Yeah, that's why they're out in the middle just projecting go away aura.
So I'm going to pop back up to 10 CP.
Yep.
Chris in his turn scored 2 for Hurt the Prey in for having this quarter of the back empty.
Yep.
I have some stuff in all 3 healer quarters. He scores no assassin and he got his second retrieval charge data with the something
Court.
in that
It was a
back.
court of the Archon.
Doesn't really matter what it was. It was something did it.
Something like that. The other ones are going to be a bit more work. That might be throwing away a Hellion unit. But the Hellions aren't that great because they're 2 damage down to 1. Most of their potential is with the 2 damage. But we will see what we do in the future turns. But anyway, over to Death Guard, turn 2. Welcome back to the Ow! Death Guard shooting hurts. Ines, what happened?
Okay, so I shot a lot of stuff. Plaguechosen Crawler did can opener here, missed everything into the Hellions, popped open the radar. I managed to get line of sight with 3 guys here. They killed them down to 3 men. This Plaguechosen Crawler then picked up the last one with his top gun, and then the Fellblight one managed to lift the Succubus, which was really nice.
5 shots, 5 wounds, 5 failed saves.
We only got 2s rolling. Like
I know. It's just like I was hoping to pass like 3 or something. Like if 3 saves, I would have
charged her for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I don't think she was living, but it was obviously really nice.
Maybe I should have emptied that raider.
Over here, the Lord of Virulence picked up the rest of the damage on the Incubi Raider that the
with the lances.
Incubi Cannons,
Yep.
Incubi Cannons did a bit of damage, and then the Flamer finished it off with +6 range.
Yeah, so I hopped out line of sight.
Yep, so he's hopped out behind. This Volkai Contemptor killed the single bike and the squad of 3 bikes. This Volkai Contemptor killed the Raider that was here, which had the Trueborn inside it. They've all disembarked now. I'm just trying to limit Chris's mobility and Dark Lances, obviously, so he's got no Raiders left now.
Yeah, it's I have 1 heat that's at the table and that's it, and then my only answer to the Death Shot is combat, and that's where they live and breathe.
And then the Flamers picked up this squad of wracks and killed 1 of the Incubi. I rolled 16 shots and only killed one Hemocide.
It's been a rough shooting phase in general for the Dark Eldar. I don't think I did anything necessarily wrong there. We were just saying. So you're saying about these potswalkers down here.
A little bit, but even then, not really.
Yeah, like the only interesting play I could have made here was these Hellions or something going to deal with them.
They definitely should have been over here last turn because it gives me 3 split the sickness. It would have taken me down to a 0 primary, and it also just means that I don't have to send these death just to keep me working that way now.
Yeah, because their move would end like here or something.
Yeah. And then you had an advance as well if you wanted it.
Yeah.
I think you might not necessarily got into that turn, but I didn't have the answers to do with the Raider and the Hellions at the same time. So because Chris has kept all his Hellions at the back, he doesn't have the threat projection. I get to just pick him up piecemeal.
Yeah, this is only my 3rd game with Hellions. I'm still learning how to use them.
He's still got a bunch of Hellions and all of these Incubi.
Yeah.
So I'm still like, this is not over. There was a lot of damage.
No, but I need to get.
I'm doing my charges. I'm going to pick up these Hellions. We're probably not going to film this, but basically I'm going to go into these Hellions and consult this objective. Because Chris doesn't have anything on it, it gets me my stranglehold points, and that's about it for the game for the turn.
Yeah, well you've already got it, right?
I don't know.
Oh no,
I have to kill these. I have to kill these.
Okay, cool. So we'll come back to you with basically the Dark Eldar power because
movement probably.
This block is going to be here.
Okay.
Hello, welcome back to the end of the shooting phase, not the end of the turn, in the shooting phase. The turn phase shooting for the Dark Eldar.
Yep.
So the Trueborn went in the building, got some cover, lovely stuff. Heamonculus went in there to get a line of sight and to protect his Helm with Spite aura. Not that that matters too much in this game,
I
but
just keep failing on my psychic test, it'll be fine.
yeah, it's either you fail or I make you fail. And then the Incubi advance forward with the Archon as well, and they're just going to charge in. And I'm not going to. The reason why the Archon is up there is I don't want to have to rely on the leadership role.
Yep. There's also 2 racks in here able to deny the Overwatch onto the Death Shroud because you just don't want to take Death Shroud Overwatch, especially with Lord of Virulence nearby for AP on 6s.
And he is on the ground floor, but don't want to move the train unnecessarily. Basically, I'm blocking out this area here for the deep side, and then I am moving up the unit of 9 Hellions to take out these potswalkers. They've shot them and they've killed 2 models, which means I can now get real ones to hitting them.
These witches here drop the rod.
Yeah, and they drop rod and denying that because of troops.
For shooting, we had 1 blaster got through. I failed my save. A CP rolled it, failed it again. He rolled a 1. He rolled a 2 for damage, becomes a 1, and then the Splinter Fire picked up the Death Shroud with double 1s on saves. Which was
there you go. Don't run Trueborn. No fancy with such weapons, just 60 warriors and
all you need is poison. Death Charge will fail saves eventually.
Yeah. Alright, we will let you know what happens at the end of the charge phase when...
End of fight phase will probably be back.
End of fight phase. That's what I mean, charge and fight, yeah. I'm going to go kill him, and then I'll let you know how well I do. Or how badly.
I'm going to pass on my 4-ups.
Alright, welcome back to the end of the Drukhari turn. So, as we spoke about, the wracks charged through the wall, then the 2 units of Incubi and Drazar and the Archon went into the Death Shroud. I used the Archon's Ancient Evil to make sure that I wasn't going to get slapped about by an interruption. And then over this side, the Hellions actually overkilled. I popped in the command phase the 2 CP stratagem to double their drugs, but maybe it wasn't necessary. But if I sent them over here and the squad lived,
yeah, I don't think Kristen can do all 5 CPE spells on them for reroll ones to hit, reroll wounds and +1 attack. I probably could have skipped +1 attack, but better than saying sorry because it does drop me to a 0 primary. So
yeah, and as I said, the squad is just poking their noses out and just stopping the Death Shroud to getting those points. So Ennis has got a bit of work to do. He's definitely lost a significant portion of his force now. But I'm still very scared. He's still got 2 Vulcan Contemptors.
250 point squad. What the f you want about?
It's still pretty significant. Like the Death Shroud it was the bulk of your threat over here, but you've got the characters backing up, which I'm going to see if I can survive and take them out. Yes, you do still have 2 very pretty newly painted Volcons in this. We all appreciate them.
Okay, so we're going to go into my turn 3. So
yes.
I'm going to generate a CP for my talent.
And we'll catch you at the end of the Death Guard turn. We'll see how we feel.
Go back to 10.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to the end of the Death Guard turn. In is what happened.
So up here, the Fellblightsborn and the Plague Crawler managed to clear the Hellions. I actually didn't even need to fire the Plague Crawler. Between the Plague Skull of Gothilla and the Plague Crawler, I killed all 9 of them, which was really good rolling. I had some backup there though, so it wasn't too bad. Death Shroud dropped in here and flamed the wracks. These guys here flamed the 2 witches just to clear the subjective and keep my side free. Clockworkers advanced up here. Over here we fired 2 Volkites, put a gun each into Drazar and the Troopborn and killed both. The Drazar took some help from the Plague Crawler to finish off.
Yep.
We missed a charge here. I think we needed a 9 or a 10. We did a bunch of charges in here, so we popped lightning to throw grenades with all 3 of the blight characters and try and pick up a bunch of incubi so that I could start firing at Drazar. That's how I managed to get through to him. And then we charged in. The Malignant Playcaster utterly failed to kill some racks, or failed to kill a rack, which was very disappointing. But he decided
because they were Hemozites, right?
He decided instead to just die and explode, and that was much more useful for me.
Yeah. The Archon, when you charged in, made your Warlord fight last, thinking I could maybe survive with the 2-point vulnerable and get a second fighting run, because I did manage to put some wounds on them.
Yeah, but I put 2 damage on him with Smite, and then 1 damage on him with the Explosion.
Yeah.
And then I got 1 wound through from the first 3 saves that he took. It was about 20% chance he would have lived, but it's still a chance.
It's still a chance, and it's a dice game at the end of the day. And
so that swung the subjective back to me, which got me my Stranglehold points, and it kept Chris to a 5 primary again.
Yeah, it's
obviously after Chris gave me a 0 primary on my turn 3.
Yeah, it's tit for tat here. So basically my plan, and we'll come back to you at the end of my turn because I haven't got that much left on the board. But my plan is essentially
this guy.
You should just try and kill these 3 characters here, because that gives me that's 9 victory points, 10 with because of the Warlord. How I'm going to achieve that, I haven't quite worked that out yet. But I've got a Heamonculus there, and he's not terrible. He's poison 2+ and -1 AP is.
I've still got 5 CP. I can't spend CP to save my life, mate.
Yeah, you've been generating CP with your Tallyman.
Do I generate my Tallyman CP? Yep.
So how many CP do you have now?
Back to 6.
6 CP. You have more CP than you do. You know what to do with.
Quite literally, yes.
Maybe you should spend more pre-game.
I can't. There's nothing else to buy.
Buy more relic contemptors. Buy.
I don't have elite slots. I'm using all 6. I've got 8 elite units.
Right, we're going to come back to you at the end of the Dark Out turn. Okay, everyone. Here we are with the end of turn summary. So, bit of rough one for the Dark Eldar. I kind of got mulched a bit. I didn't even kill a character.
Yeah, the Hellions came screaming forward. They popped a CP for no Overwatch, they could charge Lord of Gods. They did 1 damage to each. They just didn't roll enough 5s. It happens when you're showing 4.
Yeah, it's definitely a point of debate whether you take the strength drug or the attack drug with them.
I like strength drug personally. I think it's just more consistent. But
yeah,
I understand the appeal of the attack drug because it just depends on what you want to fight, right?
Yeah, like in Death Guard, you take the strength. You take strength all day long, but against Guard, you want the attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I mean, even against Guard, being strength 5 with the double to 6 is pretty useful. I don't know. It's difficult because the attack gives you the most volume for stratagem.
Maybe rolling for them might be better. Like same logic as the witches. There's always like one good option out there. But anyway. We're not going to debate that in the middle of that report. That's more for like a Dark Eldar, overcharging with, and maybe I get Simon across Scotland.
So that turn I popped spread the sickness on this top objective in my turn, and then I just cleared out all the stuff in the middle here with full pick contemptors. There's Heamonculus who has died and stood back up. He's got 2 wounds left, and there is a Slithin and Nurgle at the back.
Yeah. So I really have only 3 models on the table. So. We'll come back to you with end game and probably the wrap up chat with this at the end.
Makes sense.
See you then. Hey everyone, literally about 30 seconds since last time we filmed because there wasn't much going on. But essentially in my turn I failed CP to fall back and charge with the Heamonculus, who was in combat with his Dreadnought over here. And he did make the charge in, but he died in Overwatch. He in his rolled 2 shots, 260s to hit, and even though I saved one, it's 2 damage, and he only had 2 wounds left, so that's him dead.
I popped 3 CP for +1 to wound as well.
See, all this CP comes in handy at the end of the game. Do you regen a CP in your last round? That's the only thing left.
I have a CP left to play with on that last turn.
That's really good. No.
But I didn't know if I would have gotten it in yours, which I would have.
Hey, there we go. So, how many CP did you end the game with in this?
1 there.
Okay, alright. So maybe it is worth having another CP. Maybe I should try it one day. But yeah,
the only things I did on my turn was I went for the 4 up to spread the sickness on this objective instead of risking. So I basically had 2 options. I could either take the mortal wounds to guarantee get the 3 points, but if I roll a 3+ here, I take 2 or 3 mortal wounds and he dies, and that net doesn't benefit me because it gives Chris 3 assassinate points. So I went for the 3 up to see if I could get it that way. I actually have counted the score and it wouldn't have made a difference, so it doesn't change the score either way in terms of our WC20 scores. It does obviously change the total score.
But anyway, we'll get into all that at the end of the game. There's some comments that I want to make about how I played. I'm sure you can have a few comments about how I played, because I know the score isn't great for me, but we'll get into that in the end of game summary. So yeah, that's the end of the game. Thank you for coming on for that, Innes.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
So what was the final score?
So rough game for Chris. So we had 82 to 42 for the Death Guard. So Chris scored 15 primary, 5550, 3 on assassinate and 6 on hurt the prey. I think if he had taken engage, he would have gotten at least a chunk more. Assassinate, I'm not sure was the right call either.
I was trying out a few
An
secondaries.
8 on receive Octarius. Yeah, it's new secondaries. We're still getting used to them. They're slightly different. Retrieve Octarius data is definitely better than Scramblers would have been for you that game.
Yeah, because I would have gotten 0 for Scramblers, so it's good that there's a lower there's a lower ceiling, or a higher ceiling.
You get 8 points for doing it. You'd still get 8 points for doing it 3 times, but you have that upside of getting it a 4th time.
Yeah, what I was kind of hoping was that I had a Hellion or something in surviving,
I think
and then
Chris probably could have played more defensive with his Mandrakes and gotten him with that, because I vacated my backfield pretty quickly once the Mandrakes were gone, because I didn't have to protect it anymore.
Yeah, but even if Mandrakes were reserved, 1 unit of Potswalkers does that for you.
Yeah, but it's table quarter, so it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
As far as my scores go, I got a 3rd primary with a 5, 0, 10, 15. So very typical there for Death Guard. You get bugger all in the early game and then you pick it up late game. I got a 15 on Grind Them Down, which I don't think anybody's surprised at. A 15 on Stranglehold. Probably should have been a 12, but I got pretty lucky on my turn 4 with being able to clear this objective and get that last rack. On my turn 3, sorry.
Yeah.
And then I got a 12 on Spread the Sickness, so I missed the objective in Crystal Deployment Zone that I was just never in range of, and then also this one here at the front, which is where like my contempt ended the game.
Where the Heamonculus was hanging out.
Not an objective I could get to quickly, especially once I took 2nd turn. Yeah, that also probably, that was a 50% chance of being a 9, so if I had missed the 4-up roll, because I didn't want to gamble with the biological Drukhari's life, and I'm sure he's really appreciative of that, and will remember that, because that's why he chucked the grenades at me. I was like, I'll reward you for that by not risking your life.
Yeah, so basically, I thought that I was going to be able to get the succubus to basically be a nice pseudo assassin because you can ignore models, you can jump in and do a bunch of mortal wounds, which is really good against Death Guard because they don't have to feel the pain anymore, there's more -1 damage.
Yeah, it jumps straight past the -1 damage, which is really good.
And even then, it's still 10 attacks, so it's still a good chunk of damage coming on, particularly onto these like elite characters, which don't have
a chance of killing a character or taking out a Death Guard or two.
Yeah. So it's nothing to turn your nose at, and I think where she was deployed, I went, okay, cool. She's perfect to go after the Farbite spawn as the assassinate pick there because she can ignore models, she can ignore Overwatch for 2 CP, and she can probably pick up the Farbite spawn reliably.
I think what you probably should have done with the succubus was when you sent the raider out to go and contest the objective on turn 2. So the raider that came out and came and stood just for my death group that had the 10 witches inside it, the succubus should have disembarked and stayed behind.
Yeah.
Because she could have jumped out anyway, and then she wouldn't have been in dodge. She could have just stayed with the Hellions that were in Chris's backside of the ruin. But instead, what happened was she and the witches. Like you could have even got the witches out. Like they would have still been in threat range.
Yeah.
I just think it was. Yeah, you're going to take some claw shots from the plague crawlers if I decide to shoot them. But it just meant the witches ended up being.
No, the PVCs didn't do that much to me all game. I mean, they killed 3 Hellions.
Yeah, the entry cannons were fairly reliably picking up like a few chip damage on a radar. I killed a couple of Hellions. Like they're fine. You don't want plague crawlers to actually do damage. You want plague crawlers to threaten to do damage. The Volk being Tempters should the damage dealers at range in this list.
Oh yeah,
they were
disgusting
monsters. I think.
Like this guy here, right, the one who's right in front of me, he picked up so many models.
Yeah, I mean they both fired every turn. So it was 160 Volk shots with a decent chunk of having exploding sixes. I think I missed like exploding sixes 3 on 3 of the 10 shootings. It's very efficient. You've got rear ones from the Lord of Virulence, exploding sixes from the Tallyman. There's also the stratagem that I can, if I hit something with a plague weapon, I can give everything else that shoots at rear ones. So if I need to pick up like a big squad, so I'm trying to chunk it to Blight Wards or Deathling Terminator or something like that, you can chuck rear ones onto them. After you hit them with like a plague crawler or something like that, and then just absolutely vomit damage onto them, just chasing those sixes. So it's really good. They're really reliable. Chris, I made a very early focus of taking out Chris's long range firepower instead of trying to deal with like I could have gotten shots on the Inquire Raider on the early turns, and I just decided not to bother because they're going to go in and clear up the Death Shroud, but that's all they're going to do as long as I screen my characters properly, and I was able to do that. Yeah,
the thing with this matchup is that I need to really get good early skirmishing off, and I did try because I did that as much as I can. I was shooting heat dances on, but ultimately whenever I poke a heat dance out, I'm likely going to use that, but lose that bike unit in the following turn. The Raiders, they're a bit more survivable. Maybe they last, but the chances are they're going to be hit by something, which puts their bracketing down, and it's just whenever I'm shooting, I need to get the worst from that shot. In the first time I shoot
my squad was generally going to be -1 to hit unless I didn't feel like there was going to be any threat of it. So I got -1 to hit on my first turn, which was when most of the stuff went into them. So that was when Chris fired 6 shots into them. It's the eternal problem with having forward convertible saves is that sometimes you just have good turns and bad turns.
Yeah, part of the will know this so well.
You're just chasing the turn where you get a really good turn of saves and it swings the game in your favour. But you always try to play them so that even if you have a bad turn of saves, it doesn't really matter. I sunk a CP reroll into them every turn for the first 3 turns.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to. Death Guards, most of Death Guard stratagems are damage increases, so you're looking at +1 to hit, +2 to wound, +1 to wound, damage to the Plague Crawler, interrupt, everything like that.
-4 leadership.
Yeah, and none of that's really. Break the Spirits is a very good stratagem.
My Hellions hurt that, and speaking of them, I was far too passive with them in this game.
The only defensive stratagem that Death Guard have, the only defensive stratagem that exists in the Codex is CP reroll. So you just kind of have to.
And that's not even in your Codex.
Yeah, exactly. There's also Cloud of Flies, but Cloud of Flies doesn't do anything. It's also 4 CP, so we're just not doing that.
4 CP.
4 CP for Terminators, yeah.
You had like 99 CP all game.
But it doesn't work if you're the closest target or you're within 12. So it has a lot of limitations.
Right.
So the only defensive option you have with Death Guard is CP rerolls, which means you are just 4-up saves, you're just, Hail Marying on 4-ups. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This was a game where it went really well, and it just kind of shows what happens when your Death Guard just get to walk through an army. The ones that were up here by like Objective 6, which was where they fought like the Hellions, they never really had to do anything because nothing was ever a threat. The Darkling army that Chris had here just doesn't have the long range firepower to deal with 2 squads at once. So because he committed all his guns and then I had a good turn of saves, all of his melee threat got concentrated into the area where his guns had failed, and that meant that I got to walk the other side of the board, which made my stranglehold really easy. Because with the new change to it, I didn't need to hold the objective, I just need to kill him off every turn, and with the double Volcon, he just didn't have a way to deal with. It was much easier than domination would have been.
Yeah, I mean, there is a definite debate, and I did have this debate in turn 2 whether I should go and try and kill a Volcon rather than kill off the Death Shroud with the range shooting, but...
And it probably would have worked out better, but I think that's a little bit of results-oriented decision making, where you're looking at what did happen and saying, oh, if only I'd done things differently, but whether it's the right play or not doesn't really matter based on the dice. I had a good turn of 4-up saves, like a really good turn of 4-up saves. On average, I think it's still the right play to go for the Death Shroud there. I maybe would have considered the turn that you charge everything into the Death Shroud, just ignoring them and going for the Volcons. Because it would have...
I mean, at that point I had the Trueborn, and I think that's it.
Yeah, because you sang, it just gave me the option to clear out all your scoring still. I don't know, it's difficult. After the turn Chris had, and the way that I positioned where I hadn't lost any Death Shard, if I had lost 1 or 2 already, I think it would have been a much better situation for Chris.
Yeah, because then I could start charging into the characters as well, and maybe picking up a bit more.
Well, it's just even like, you could have just gone into the Volcons and just sent Drazar into the Death Shard at that point, or just Drazar on the Jadblade guy, and the Incubi can go and hold up my Volcons, try and spike some damage, you're still winning me on 4s with Drazar.
Yeah, because Drazar would have been nearby to give them the buff.
Yeah, so, I don't know, there's a lot of little nuance, and combat is always really confusing in Death Guard versus Drukhari matchups, because you just have to, there's so much sequencing, there's so much fight lasts, and don't charges and fight first. It all gets quite complicated.
Yeah. I mean, this is a matchup that we play fairly regularly.
Yeah, we've played this like 5 or 6 times now. This is the first game I've had where it's gone really, really well for the Death Guard.
Yeah.
Other than like we had one very early game that just Chris wasn't really sure what he was doing the list, and that doesn't really count.
Yeah, I think I've won a few. We've had some very, very, very close ones.
We've had some really close games. We've had a couple of blowouts for Chris, and then this is the first one that was really blowout for me. So I'm glad we got this one on camera.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm really hoping that everything we filmed today was filmed. Definitely a bit nervous about having to go to the editing bay, but
just if we get something that's not edited, we'll just fill in a montage of me passing 4-up saves, because that was basically the game.
Yeah, like
and Chris failing.
We'll summarise the good thing.
Every save.
If we did miss anything in filming, if it didn't film today, we can just get you back next week.
Yeah, maybe. I think I'm working next Sunday. Highlights of the game for me include Chris's Raider on turn 1 failing 10 out of 10 4-up saves and taking 25 damage from a Volkite Contemptor. That was great. Shall we do MVPs? And
yeah. So who's your MVP?
So for me, it's got to be one of the 2 Volkite Contemptors, probably the one that was more aggressive, just because it did so much work. It got the board, it took down that objective for you, keeping you down to a 5 primary. This one did kill an Incubi though, or the one that was in the middle did kill an Incubi, so the Volkite Contemptors were the MVPs for me. I don't really have a specific one. They just absolutely dump damage downrange. Very impressed with them.
I think for me it's either the unit of heads that were more centre that flew off to take care of the Poxwalkers that they did deny you a lot of points, or actually the unit 2 which is to suck around after them around just to stand in the objective and then also screen out a good portion of my area in turn 3. That was nice.
Killing those, because my Poxwalkers had to stay in my deployment zone to action turn 1, the score of 10, they didn't get to get off the board quickly enough that I could start getting obsec onto like the objectives in my top left corner. So once Chris was able to sink 5 CP into killing the 19, it was really rough for me just having obsec there. I really had to try and kill the witches. I was considering going for a charge on them early, but I didn't want to risk it because then I get charged by the Hellions, I'm in range for visceral flybys, and then my death starts looking real sauce. So
you were playing on the Eva's flybys so heavy. I think that's why I'd be more aggressive but there wasn't really a good staging ground rune that I could jump to, which which is fine because like this is definitely a very typical board that we see it in terms in.
Yeah, I think you could have gone into this one a bit quicker, just because my vocal contenders once they pushed it around the way. Yeah, you'd got shot with the plaguechosen crawler, but I'm not sure that's all that threatening because it'd be shooting with most of its guns anyway.
Yeah.
If I wanted to. I don't know. There's definitely a lot to think about.
Yeah,
it's a weird matchup. This is.
And the list I was running is a good list. It's not the best list in the Codex. I think there's definitely lists that are stronger out there, but this is the list that I like to run.
I mean, this is also we're immediately post Drukhari nerf. Most of the stuff Chris had was prepare for the free Codex.
So many pelicans. Sorry, so many wracks.
Not that to be fair that the liquefy wracks do anything in this matchup.
No, because they're damage one again. But plus one to win is nice.
The plus one to win is nice,
Yeah.
but I think the Hellions did more for you because they give you the option to clear the pot walkers, where the liquefiers wouldn't necessarily have. I don't know. We've got a lot of work to do with the new Codex. We're still, or with the updated Drukhari Codex. Obviously, Death Guard gained a couple buffs, like my ability to ignore all of the dense terrain in the middle and the craters just gave me a decent amount of mobility that I wouldn't have had before. Whereas Chris just lost points and output. So
yeah, I just got nerfed.
We need to wait and see what evolves out of the Drukhari book before we make any judgments on this, but
it didn't feel terrible. It is definitely other matches I would actually just sweep over them.
Yeah, it's just Death Guard durability and a bit of high rolling looks really bad for Dark Killer sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and so comment down below if what your thoughts on the match was, if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when we release more videos. Thanks, Dennis.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Follow him on Twitter because he's needing more followers. He's his ego stroked.
Exactly. One day I'll hit 12.
12 followers. Well, I've got both of you follow. All right. See ya.
Thanks very much.